Hello everybody, it's the Worm, and welcome back to Steins. It's basically the same recording session as last time. I realized I had some time, and I wanted to I wanted to see what would happen next, so I decided to jump back in after a little break. So, we have just time leaped after finding ourselves in a pretty well I think I said just a second ago I said something like an even worse situation than we were previously. I mean, consider everything that's happened. All the game or all the story has done is it builds us up a bit, knocks us down, builds us up a bit, but not as far back as where we were previously, and then we get knocked further down. And so, I mean, Okabe, after everything that had happened, finally had to choose to sacrifice his bond, well, not just his bond with Suzuha, but the bond Suzuha made with all of his friends as well. He had to sacrifice that to finally maybe make some progress from seeing his childhood friend die over and over again. And all he got from that sacrifice was 1 day. 1 day is all he got. And then it happened again. So, I mean, I'm just trying to consider what Okabe's mental state going into this is going to be. Not good. Not good is my assumption here. He's gone back 3 hours. And what does he do here? That is my question, and it's the reason why I've decided to just jump back in real quick, because I want to see. I want to get a sense of the direction we go in now, because quite frankly, I guess I'm just not clever enough to see a way forward. So, all right, Okabe. I don't know if it's going to be you or if it's going to be Krisu or who's going to give us direction, but we need something here. All right, let's continue. The world collapses, then reforms. Once again, I feel that odd numbness behind my eyes. The pain at the top of my head is gone. I wipe the sweat off my brow and look around. I can't see mowed snake's vapor anymore. The air is clear. Krisu is reading a Western book like usual. Mayuri is playing a handheld game while eating a banana. Daru isn't here. I recall he said he was going out somewhere. I quickly swallow my words. What's wrong? You want a banana too? When I wave my... What did I just say? When I wave my hand... Oh. When I wave my hand no, Mayuri tilts her head quizzically, then goes back to her game. Sorry about that. I sink into the sofa and close my eyes. I grit my teeth, trying my hardest to hold back the urge to scream in frustration. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about. I have to think. I erased our memories with Suzuha, I changed the world line, but it wasn't enough. That divergence meter still reads 0.4%. I guess maybe one thing we could try to do is figure out what Suzuha did. She has to have done something. I said this last time too. She has to have done something in the 25 years that she had. We know she moved in near here. We know she bought this place. She must have something here that can help us in some way, right? Or done something in order to help us. I think we just, at least, that's kind of the only thing I can think of right now. How do I get that above 1%? Wait. If I try to solve the problem alone, it'll just end the same way. I need to consult Krisu. Yeah! See, he's learning. You should trust your friends, especially if your friends happen to be geniuses.
クリス、ちょっと来てくれ。
Krisu, come with me a second. I lead her out of the lab. Remember, if she doesn't believe you, just mention the fork. We sit on the bench in front of the building. Suzuha's bicycle is still absent.
何なの？私の名前を普通に呼ぶなんて普通じゃないの。
What is it? You don't normally say my name normally. Krisu frowns at her own words.
変な日本語。
That came out weird.
助けてくれ。
Please, help me.
これはびっくり。
Now this is a shock.
まさかあんたの口からそんな言葉が出るなんて熱でもあるんじゃない？
I never thought I'd hear those words from you. Do you have a fever?
茶化すな。俺は本気で相談している。
No jokes. I seriously need your help.
タイムリープをしてきたのね。
You time leaped, didn't you? I nod.
お前はどこまで知っている？
How much do you know?
どこまでって何を？
How much do I know about what?
鈴葉がジョン・タイターだったことは。
About Suzuha being John Titor.
え？
Oh, wait, hold that thought, Krisu. I have mail. It's from my Yuri. Where are you going? Ocarine, where are you going? A date with Chris-chan. I'm jealous. Some kind of emoticon face, but I don't know. How would I describe his face? Someone help me out here. What is this face? What is it expressing? What is it trying to be? We could say our relationship is purely professional. She's my assistant, nothing more. Or, in response to jealousy, jealous? You want to go on a date with me? Ooh. So we can be dismissive. We can try to flip it around on her. This response seems more fun, so we'll do this one. Krisu says, what? Krisu gives me a blank stare.
その発想はなかったわ。
It never even occurred to me. When we prevented Suzuha from leaving on August 9th, she ended up staying until August 13th. But that outcome was changed by my last email. What happened during those 4 days on this world line?
タイムリープマシンは完成したか？
Have you finished the time leap machine?
何言ってんの？昨日私が徹夜して完成させたでしょ？
What are you talking about? I finished it yesterday after an all-nighter, remember?
岡部はいつから飛んできたんだ？
When did you leap from?
今日の夜8時頃だ。
8 p.m. tonight. It looks like I'll have to explain everything all over again. And then we just skipped ahead. Okay, fair enough. I get why they would do that. That's a lot of explaining to do. Now, did you explain how much did you? Well, okay, I'm sure we'll find out. Oh, Mayuri takes it like a champ. We flipped it on her, and she flipped it back on us. It's a shame we can't make a response here. Oh well. Okay, I told her about Mayuri's many deaths, about what happened with Suzuha and Moeka. I also gave a summary of what Suzuha told me about the structure of the universe. Okay, that's a lot. Did you also tell her that you had to send an email and raise the time they spent with Suzuha? Krisu does not appear to doubt my story.
話をまとめると IBN5100 が手元に戻ってくれば勝ちっていうことになる。
So basically, you win if you get the IBN 5100 back. That's the assumption, but I'm not sure. I mean, it seems so simple, right? It seems so simple that I feel like that can't be the whole story, but I mean, we have nothing else to go on at this point, so for now, yes. Krisu sums up what I told her.
あくまで予測だけど
This is just a guess,
天音さんの話を逆の視点から考えてみればいい。
but maybe you should look at what Amane-san said from the opposite angle.
IBN5100 を岡部が手に入れてセルンにあるデータを消すその瞬間が分岐の臨界点なんだと思う。
I think the critical change takes place when you get the IBN 5100 and erase the data from CERN's database. In CERN's database, rather. Yeah, that sounds right.
おそらくその瞬間ダイバージェンスは 1% オーバーに達するはず。
That instant is most likely when you'll achieve divergence over 1%.
問題は IBN5100 が今はどこにあるかだ。
The problem is where the IBN 5100 is now.
岡部は一度 IBN5100 を手に入れている。あんたの記憶が妄想じゃなければな。
You've already found it once. That is, if your memories aren't just delusions.
その世界線へもう一度行けることができれば必然的に手元に戻ってくるんじゃない？
If you can get back to the world line where you first obtained it, then isn't it bound to return to you? Then isn't it bound to return to you? I'm not sure I understand the second part of the statement, but we've actually, or at least I remember quite a few episodes back, I think I actually made a statement about this sort of idea. It must have been pretty early on, because I remember thinking, you know, if we're hopping world lines, there's the idea, well, even if we leave a world line, that doesn't mean the one we left no longer exists. At least, this is when I was speculating. And this is sounding similar to the speculation I had. And so the thought I had was, could there be a potential to go back to previous world lines? And, yeah, so Krisu's bringing it up again now. So that's interesting.
なるほど。そうか。
I see. You're right.
IBN5100 はある時を境にラボから忽然と姿を消した。
The IBN was at the lab and then suddenly disappeared. Oh, what was the... Wasn't it the one where... Was it the one with Lukako? Was it the one with Lukako when Lukako changed from a boy to a girl? Or was it the one with the Lotto 6? Let me see. Let's see here. IBN, yeah. If you heard a noise just then, that was me, not you. Okay, so it was definitely before the change that Ferris made, because we went to Ferris because we couldn't find the IBN. Yeah, okay, I think it has to be the Lukaku change. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Yep, I think that was it. The IBN 5100 was at the lab and then it suddenly disappeared.
前にそのことで騒いでたわね。あの時は岡部がついに妄想と現実の区別がつかなくなったかと思って、心の中で「オーゴッド」ってつぶやいてた。
You threw a fit about that earlier. I remember thinking, oh god, Okabe's finally lost his ability to distinguish delusions from reality.
アメリカかぶれめ。何がオーゴッドだ。クリスチャンはクリスチャンとでも言いたいのか。
You're such a wannabe American. What do you mean, oh god? Oh, I get it. Christian is Christian. Okay. Chrisu looks at me in disdain as soon as those words leave my lips.
誰がうまいこと言えと言った。
That's terrible.
俺も口に出してから後悔した。
I regret it too. This is no time for puns. I mean, is there ever a time? Is there ever a time that can't be improved with puns? I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, there's probably a few times where you shouldn't make puns.
それでクリスティーナ、お前はこう言いたいんだな。
So, Christina, let me see if I understand what you're saying.
俺たちが生じさせてしまった世界の歪み、すなわちこれまでに世界線を変動させた全ての D メールを打ち消していけば、
If we reverse all the D-mails that cause the world line to change,
IBN5100 を俺が柳林神社で見つけた世界線へと戻ることができると。
that will return us to the world line where I found the IBN 5100 at Yanabayashi Shrine? I mean, if you can reverse D-mails, maybe. I mean, we were able to do it with Suzuha, so that proves that it is possible. Now, would you have to reverse each of them individually, or could you just remember the furthest one back? Or say just the Lukaku change? If we just change that one back, would we be fine? Of course, that one's kind of tricky, because that's the one where we sent it to Lukaku's mom's pager. So that's another wrinkle in this. Although we could send a D-mail to Okabe and tell him not to do the experiment. Yeah, I don't know. It feels messy. It feels messy, but I'm not opposed to this idea. It just, I'm not sure how we're going to be able to do it in a sort of clean way. From what I've experienced so far, I'm confident that the IBN 5100's disappearance from the lab wasn't due to theft. After all, I was sleeping at the lab, and whenever I wasn't around, another lab mem was. The lab was occupied every hour of the day. It would have been impossible for someone to steal that heavy computer without anyone noticing. It makes more sense to assume that a D-mail caused us to diverge from the world line where I found the IBN 5100 at Yanabayashi Shrine.
あくまで仮説だけど、私はあんたの説明だけをもとに判断しているから。
It's still a hypothesis. I only came to that conclusion based on your explanation.
もしあんたが事実誤認をしていたり、私を騙そうとしていたり、妄想を垂れ流していた場合は、この仮説はあっけなく破綻する。
If you're mistaking your facts, deceiving me, or shooting off delusions, then this hypothesis will fail. This assistant of mine has no confidence in me at all.
この仮説を盲目的に信じてもらっても困る。
You can't just blindly follow this hypothesis either.
保険はいくつかあるとはいえ、迂闊な行動をとってもしも罪になってしまったら。
You may have a safety net, but if you get careless and leave yourself a way out, or without a way out,
マユリを二度と助けられなくなるんだから。
then you'll never get another chance to save Mayuri. I know that. I'd ask for Suzuha's opinion too if she were here, but on this world line, she traveled to 1975 on the night of August 9th. There's no way I can speak to her now.
どうして IBN5100 が消えたのか。これまでに送った D メールの中のどれが IBN5100 の消えた原因なのか。
Why did the IBN 5100 disappear? Which of the D-mails caused its disappearance?
それを突き止めるのが解を導くための近道ね。
Figure that out and you're well on your way to finding the solution.
わからないのは、マユリの死ぬタイミングがちょうど24時間ずれたことだ。
What I don't understand is how we delayed the timing of Mayuri's death by exactly 24 hours. Me neither, Okabe. That's what I found so peculiar last time. You know, it's almost like it almost feels like it could be a joke or something. A bad joke, a dark joke, but a joke nonetheless. That you went through all that effort and heartbreak, and all you got was a day.
確かに気になるな。ダイバージェンスが変わったことが関係してるのかな。
True, that is interesting. Maybe it's related to the change in divergence.
バタフライエフェクトの可能性がある。それならほんの些細な原因でも結果には大きな誤差が生じる。
Could be the butterfly effect. If that's the case, any trivial change could produce a significantly deviant result.
とにかく慎重な行動が大切。不用意なことはしない方がいい。
Anyway, it's important to act with discretion. Don't do anything careless.
例えば、一番危険なのはあんたが死ぬこと。
Your death, Okabe, is the worst thing that could possibly happen.
世界線を越えて記憶を継続できるのはおそらく岡部だけだから。あんたが死んだらマユリも助けられなくなると思いなさい。
You're probably the only person who can remember previous world lines. If you die, then consider Mayuri dead for good.
絶対に死なないで。
Don't die, okay?
もしかして心配してくれているのか。
You're not worried about me, are you?
は？何それ？誰得？
What? Don't be ridiculous. Why should I care? Yeah, keep it up, Kurisu. Keep it up.
そんなわけないでしょ。勘違いするな。
I'm not worried about you, okay? Don't get the wrong idea.
つまり死ぬなって言ったのはあんたが貴重な被験者だからよ。そうなの。
I just don't want to lose a valuable test subject, that's all, yeah.
世界線云々はともかく、あんたのその何度もタイムリープしていながら記憶が継続してる脳ってのは脳科学史を塗り替えるくらい貴重なサンプルであって。
That brain of yours has accumulated memories spanning world lines and time leaps. It's a precious sample that can rewrite the history of brain science.
あんたの脳をマッピングして一体何がどうなってるのか確かめたい気分よ。
I want to map your brain and find out just what's going on in there.
だから引き続き実験をガンガンやってくれると私としても助かるわけ。タイムリープマシンはいわば私の研究の成果でもあるんだから。
In other words, your time leaping helps me too. After all, the time leap machine is the fruit of my research, so to speak. So, and I...
落ち着け。
Calm down. Chrisu turns away with a sour expression. This assistant of mine can be difficult sometimes. Anyway, I consider her hypothesis. In order to return to the world line where I found the IBN 5100 at Yanobayashi Shrine, we need to cancel all the emails we sent so far. The theory is sound, and I've got nothing else to go on. I check the clock, it's 6:42 p.m. Only 1 hour until Moeka's raid. I decide to time leap once more to the afternoon of the 13th, just before the time leap machine is completed.
クリスティーナ、お前の案を試してみる。
Christina, I'm going to give this plan of yours a shot.
そう。
Great. I take Chrisu's hand and grasp it firmly.
お前には何度も助けられているな。いつもすまない。
You've been a great help. Sorry for the trouble.
謝るのバカ。調子狂うでしょ。
Don't apologize, dummy. It's confusing.
そもそも前にあんたを助けたことなんて私はちっとも覚えてないのよ。どう責任取ってくれるの？
And besides, I don't even remember helping you before. How are you going to take responsibility for this? Why is she getting mad at me? I just don't understand her.
できれば覚えておきたかった。
I wish I could remember too.
そうすればあんたの情けない姿をネタにいつでもプギャーってできたから。
Then I'd always have something to rub your nose in.
お前は実に性格が悪いな。
You really have an awful personality.
あんたが言うな。
You're one to talk. Okay. With that, I time leap, or rather, I leap 28 hours into the past. All right. Let's send some D-mails. You know, I should have... If I were clever enough, I would have been able to see that coming. Because we just showed with Suzuha that it is possible to reverse D-mails. So that's definitely an avenue of thought I probably should have gone down. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Reverse the D-mail that caused the IBN to disappear, and Bob's your uncle. You have the IBN back. Now, the way they phrased it a couple times, they said something like reverse all the D-mails. That makes it sound like we have to do them all individually. But I don't know why we couldn't just... reverse the one in particular, one specific D-mail. Maybe we'll find out. Time leap complete. I'm standing in the lab as usual. My brain feels like it's been pinched. I endure the pain as I check my watch. It's 1:47 p.m. Risu's almost done with the time leap machine, and Mayuri's almost done with Lukako's costume. Should both be done in about 10 minutes. I leave the lab and sit on the bench in front of the Braun Tube workshop. Let's go over the plan. Cancel all the D-mails that have changed the past thus far. Of course, that includes D-mails sent by people other than me. Specifically, I'm only concerned with the D-mails that triggered reading Steiner. We sent several of them as experiments. For example, Operation Erd Stage 2, the Lotto 6 experiment, involved one such D-mail. But the real problem is what other people sent. Mayuri and Krisu haven't sent any D-mails. Daru sent his past self a strategy to win the Feyris Cup, but Reading Steiner didn't activate, so Divergence must not have changed. That leaves 3 D-mails to deal with. Those sent by Moeka, Lukako, and Feyris. The most problematic one is the one Feyris sent, which is also the most recent. I have no idea what it said, so I don't know how to cancel it. I remember this one. This is, I threw out a guess at the time. I think it has to do with her father. Feyris' D-mail caused a dramatic change to Akiba. All of the Moe stores disappeared. That's my only hint. We have more than that. We know that... Well, it's related to what he just said. We know that Feyris was on the... I can't remember what it was called. The board of directors or something. And so she had a strong influence on the development of Akiba, and that's why it developed a Moe culture. But then the question is, why would she be on the board of directors? And so my thought was, well, maybe her dad was originally dead or missing or something, who knows? And so because he died or went missing or whatever, and he's most likely in charge of whatever conglomerate or, you know, who knows? Akiba royalty is what she said. Because he was gone, she kind of was put in place or filled the vacuum, and that's why she had such influence. So if Feyris brought her father back, then suddenly he's still in charge, and Feyris doesn't have any influence on how Akiba develops. So, yeah. Of course, if that's the case, now we're going to have another tragic event in the future where we're no longer just severing bonds. Well, we're still severing bonds, but this is more serious. We're not just severing a relationship. We're ending... Well, how do we think about this? Because if we're thinking that the world lines all still exist, then technically we're not ending a life. We're just going back to a world line where that life ended, as opposed to a world line where it continued. So I'm not sure how guilty should we feel about this, if this is where this is going. Because even if we were to revert back to a previous world line, wouldn't that mean that the world line where Feyris' dad is still alive would still be around, or no? This is where I wish I had a better handle on exactly what's going on here. But anyway, that's the thought. I'm the only one who remembers how things were before the change, so I won't get an answer from Feyris, even if I ask her directly. But still, I have to at least try. I should get in touch with her. Oh, interesting, we have a choice. You know, it's funny. I made a save at the end of last episode, and I reached my last save slot. So now I'm gonna have to start overwriting some of my saves. Okay. So this is a choice then. We have a choice either to call her or not. Huh? So what does this mean? Does this mean this could be something like getting a Feyris ending, you think? And if we don't, then instead of focusing on her D-mail, we're gonna focus on another D-mail, maybe? Let's, give me 1 second, actually. Okay, I'm back. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's, oh, how do we want to do this? I can call or send mail. Oh my goodness, it's a choice within a choice. It's not only choosing to contact her, it's choosing the method of contact. Let's call her. I think she would appreciate a call more. The ringtone echoes in my ears. It's not connecting. Oh. I stab the end button and immediately open up my mailbox. I'll write Ferris a mail. Okabe, it's urgent. Contact me. There's no time. Just give it to her straight. I send it. Afterward, I sit and stare at the screen waiting. I've already tried sending 3 mails and calling 4 or 5 times, but 30 minutes pass without a single response. That's interesting. Unable to hide my frustration, I storm off toward Ferris's apartment. I arrive at the tall apartment building soaked in sweat. I've been running an awful lot today. It's made me realize how out of shape I am. I wish I worked out more. This complex has an automatic lock, so I have to call up from the lobby intercom. Enter the number for Ferris's apartment, and a man's calm voice soon replies. May I ask who's calling? Judging by the voice, it's not Ferris's dad, but her butler.
岡部と言います。
My name's Okabe?
フェイリーじゃなくて、ルミホさんにお会いしたいんですが。
I'd like to speak with I mean, Rumiho-san.
残念ながら、お嬢様はただいまこちらにはいらっしゃいません。
I regret to inform you that the young mistress is currently out.
じゃあ今どこに？
Then, where is she now?
それについてはお答えできません。あなた様がお嬢様にとって好ましくない人物であるという可能性もありますので。
I'm afraid I cannot answer that. You may be someone with whom she does not wish to interact.
前に一度ここには遊びに来てますよ。
I've been here before, remember?
おっしゃる通りでございますが、やはり私からはお嬢様の居場所はお教えできません。お嬢様に直接ご連絡をお願いいたします。
Of course, sir. However, I still cannot disclose the location of the young mistress. Please contact her directly. He's obviously trying to end the conversation, so I panic to get a last word in.
待ってください。フェイリスと大至急連絡を取りたいんですけど、電話してもメールしても繋がらないんですよ。
Please wait. I've been trying to get in touch with Ferris, but she's not returning my calls or emails.
では、お時間をお改めください。
Then please try again some other time. Frustrated by this new turn of events, my anger threatens to boil over. Damn inflexible geezer. I leave the lobby. May Queen plus Nyan squared doesn't exist on this world line. Ferris isn't responding to my calls or emails either. Where could she be? Underneath the incandescent heat of the sun, I suddenly get an idea. Daru. If anyone knows where Ferris is, it'll be that stalker of hers. Another choice? What's going on here? I mean, okay. Let's try it.
Moshi, Okarin.
Yeah, Okarin. It's awfully noisy on the other side of the phone. But I don't care about that.
ダリオ、フェイリスが今どこにいるか心当たりはないか？
Daru, do you happen to know where Ferris is right now?
フェイリスタン
1秒でも早く連絡を取りたいのだ。
I need to talk to her right now.
今すぐは無理じゃね
Right now? That's not gonna happen. Is she at a tournament or something?
場所さえ教えてくれればいい。 フェイリスの行きそうな場所ぐらいお前なら完璧に把握しているだろう。
Just tell me where she is. You keep tabs on her at all times, don't you?
どこにいるかなら知ってるよ。
I know where she is, sure.
どこだ、どこにいる？
Where? Where is she?
UPX の会場。
In the UPX assembly hall. UPX? I look up. I'm standing right in front of UPX.
会場とはなんだ？
Why the assembly hall?
今日はライネット AB グラちゃんの決勝戦なわけだが。
I knew it. Today's the finals of the Rhinet ABGC.
ライネット AB グラちゃん。
ライネットアクセスバトラーズグランドチャンピオンシップの略だろう、上皇。
Short for Rhinet Axis Battlers Grand Championship, duh.
日本中のライネッターが参加してる大会の決勝戦だお。そこにフェイリスタンが出場してる。
It's the finals, man. Feyristan is participating.
ちなみにフェイリスタンは今年冬のグラちゃんの優勝者でもあるんで、ディフェンディングチャンピオン。これ豆知識な。
Feyristan was the winner of this year's Winter GC, so she's the defending champion, just so you know.
決勝戦？
She's in the finals.
で僕は今まさにそれを会場で観戦中。つうか今まさにフェイリスタンがデュエル中なわけだが。
I'm here spectating. I'm here too, spectating. The match has already started, man. So that's why.
今から行く。何階だ？
I'm headed there now. What floor?
オカリン、チケット持ってんの？
Do you have a ticket?
持っていないが、なんとかなるだろう。
No, but I'll manage.
それ無理。警備がめっちゃ厳重だし、テロ予告まがいの書き込みがアットちゃんにあったらしくてさ。
I don't know, man. Security's pretty tight. Someone posted threats on at channel.
きっとオカリンは入れないわな。
Pretty sure you're not getting in.
それなら外に出てきてくれ。俺も UPX の前にいる。お前のチケットを貸してほしい。
Then you come out. I'm in front of UPX. Can you lend me your ticket?
だが断る。
But I refuse.
4時までには終わるから出待ちしてれば会えんじゃね？
It'll end at 4, so can't you just wait until then?
おい、誰？
Hey, Daru. Daru. Denied. That inflexible bastard. How many inflexible people are we going to meet today? Looks like I don't have a choice. All I can do is wait like Daru suggested. At 4, tons of people spew out of the building. There are mostly parents with children, but there are also men and women in their 20s and 30s. Seems like a wide customer base. Some people are dressed in cosplay, and others are carrying Rhinet goods in paper bags. They're the ones you'd expect to be here. Maybe I should try calling Feyris again. I guess we should. The game is just having me call everyone today. Why won't she pick up? My frustration peaks. I tell myself to calm down, but it doesn't work. One obstacle after another. I'm on the verge of losing it. I pace back and forth as I watch the exiting crowd. I try calling Daru again, but now not even he's not answering. Looks like I don't have a choice.
ちょっとすいません。
Excuse me. I approach several men gathered near the UPX entrance. They've got tattered leather jackets and excessive silver accessories. Not the sort of people I usually hang out with.
ライネットチャンピオンのフェイリスさんは今どこにいるか知ってますか？
Do you know where the Rhinet champion Fayrist-san is? Oh my goodness. Someone with art. I'm, for some reason, very surprised that we have a new character with artwork. Is this random guy important? What in the world? Also, what are you wearing? That number 4? Are you in some kind of boy band? They suddenly give me dangerous looks.
ライネットチャンピオンのフェイリスさんはっ聞いたかよお前ら
You guys hear that? The man tosses a grin to the other members of his posse. Snobby, unpleasant laughter resounds. Out of all the people you could have walked up to ask, you walk up to this guy. I struggle to suppress my anger.
知っているなら教えてほしいんですが。
If you know, please tell me. Now the man directs his grin toward me.
てめえあの元チャンプの仲間か
What? You're a friend of the former champ? Ooh, she lost. And what in the world am I looking at here? Man who seems to whisper to Gaia to shine more. What? Former champ? While I'm puzzling this out, the man suddenly steps right in my face. Something smashes into my forehead. Stars explode behind my eyes. I fall onto my back. It's hot above my brow, and as if a branding iron was pressed into it. But that quickly fades to a dull throbbing. I finally realize that the nutcase headbutted me. What the hell? Why would he do that? Is this guy just a typical DQN? A delinquent? Whose needlessly provocative behavior is kicking in? Or is he a Fayrus hater? Oh my goodness, a tip. We haven't had a tip in forever. Hater. People who post negative comments about someone or something on the internet. They appear in places where fans of those people or things gather and provoke them by posting derogatory things. It is not rare for them to cause emotional debate among fans. Incredible. I stagger to my feet. Look at this guy. The man stoops to pick up his hat, which fell when he headbutted me. That's when I see it. Right on the top of his head, there's a small space devoid of hair. There's no way I could miss it. A bald spot. What is going on right now?
いきなり悪かったなだがてめえがいけないんだぜ
Sorry, but you asked for it. This is said by everyone, we have an update. Man with a bald spot who seems to whisper to Gaia to shine more.
俺のダーティーなハートがざわついちまったのさあのメス猫未だにチャンプ呼ばわりする奴がいることにな
Wow, okay. Cover your ears, children. It made my dirty heart ache to hear you call that pussy a champion.
いいか俺の前で二度とフェイリスなんていう脳眼中な女をチャンプと呼ぶな
Get it? Don't you ever call that disgusting cat girl a champion to my face again.
それが嫌だというならストリートシーンにおいてこの俺黒の絶対零度ことシドス様に身も心も凍らされる覚悟を決めろ
Not unless you want your body and soul frozen by yours truly, the king of the streets, the one and only black absolute zero, 4 degrees Celsius. What the hell is this guy talking about? He's obviously living in his own stupid world.
俺はシド数字の4に温度の度でシド秋葉に降臨した最強の伊達割るライネッター誰もこの高みには近づけさせねえ
The name's 4 degrees Celsius. That's Shido, apparently. That's Shido, you get me? I'm the strongest and coolest Rhinetter to ever rule the streets of Akiba. Nobody comes close. Nobody.
知ってるかドライアイスは肌をやけどさせるんだぜ
Did you know? Dry ice is so cold it burns.
それはやけどではなく凍傷だ。
That's not a burn, that's frostbite.
何
What? When I point out the scientific truth, the man with a bald spot and his lackeys get pissed. This doesn't look good. I don't have time to get into a fight. I decide to stage a tactical retreat. Afterward, I go to the assembly hall and ask the staff about Ferris. No luck. When I try calling Daru again, he says, maybe she went home already, in a bummed out voice. Man. Yeah, this really... this really feels like we have... I feel like we've started the Ferris arc of the story. I gotta say, that was a bit surprising. Does that mean we're gonna have a Lukako arc and a Moeka arc? If we're kind of going down the list of previous D-mails? Alright, well, I'm pretty tired at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Yeah. That character that we just met, that's certainly not something I would have expected. And it's the fact that he has art, and that makes me think we're gonna see him more and more. Of course, Dr. Nakabachi did have art, and we haven't seen him at all since the beginning. So, maybe not. Okay. In any case, I'm glad that we now actually have a firm direction we're going in, which is to reverse the D-mails. Yeah. And I'm kinda kicking myself that I wasn't able to think of that beforehand, because it makes sense. We did it once already. Alright, I've been the Worm. This has been Steins Gate. I hope you're doing alright, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.